I'm Dr. Sam Zaranovich, and today I want to talk you through some very simple movements for the shoulder and elbow that should free up space and tension from all the way down the hands, up and across the shoulder girdle. And so this is part of a movement meditation series. If you've seen the low back or neck movement meditation before, the idea will be similar and familiar. If not, I'll link those below. For the shoulder and arm, though, we have our own particular set of movements that we're going to be doing. So to free up some ease in the shoulder and the arm, we're going to start by going through the basic movements. And the basic movements are, first, just raising the arm up in the front. Second, bringing the arm winging out to the side. And third, bringing the arm up and back. So, like with all of the movement meditation videos, you will notice that these practices go slow. And that is the number one most important thing about doing a movement meditation practice like this, is to move so slowly that you almost get bored. You can tell you're doing it right if you find your mind starting to try to wander, and all that tells you is bring your mind back and go even slower. Usually if you tighten that focus down into the slowest possible movement, you'll get the best result. The purpose of the slow movement is two things. One is we want to rebuild in the brain a map of how these muscles work and time together, since all of our automatic movements are going to be just whatever happens to happen. By going very, very slowly, we disrupt some of the automaticness of it, and we remap how the joints that we're moving work in the brain. The second purpose for going really slowly is to make sure that there is plenty of time for the fascia, the soft connective tissue that wraps around the muscles, wraps around the nerves, and attaches the muscles to the bones, attaches the skin to the muscles, for that to stay soft. Fascia has this funny property that the more force you put into it, the harder and more rigid it gets. It's kind of like if you mix cornstarch and water together. If you slam on it, it'll crack. But if you stick your finger in and move slow, it stays fluid. And fascia has a similar property. The more force you put in, the more rigid it becomes. So we're going to take as much force out and really go with the slowest, gentlest movement we possibly can. If any of these movements make the part of your body that we're working, in this case the shoulder and the elbow and arm, hurt, then probably cut it out and get a hold of me and let me know how I can help you figure out an alternative, okay? So for now, let's go ahead and start with that first movement. I'm starting with my left hand or arm. You can start with whichever one. And I'm going to take 3 full breaths as the timing to get my arm overhead. So I'm moving really slow, and then I'm going to slow it down. Let's start with that. At the end of the third breath, my arm is overhead. I'm going to take 1 full breath at the end range of motion. Try to soften. Now we're going to slow it down. Take 5 full breaths to bring your hand back to resting on your lap. Take 1 full breath at the bottom of all of that. Just kind of wiggle it out gently to settle. Next, we're going to go into the side wing movement, but so slow. So we're going to take 5 full breaths to come up, 5 full breaths to come down. Let's go. I'm thinking about lengthening the distance from the hip up to the elbow. Keeping the neck and shoulders soft. Even reaching the elbow away from the spine as I lift. After 5 breaths, take 1 breath at the end range of motion and soften everything you can. And then 5 full breaths all the way back down, so slow. As I get near the bottom, I'm trying to lengthen from my ear down to my elbow. Again, gently wiggle it off, just shake it off. The last movement is projecting the elbow back behind you. I'll turn to the side so you can see it. It's that movement. And so we're going to take, again, 5 full breaths to complete the movement, 1 breath at the end range of motion, and 5 full breaths to come all the way back to neutral. Let's go. There's a tendency to want to twist in the chest. I'm trying to neutralize that tendency, keep the chest flat, facing forward while the elbow pushes back. At the end range of motion, take a full breath and soften everything you can, especially noticing any tension in the neck, see if you can let it go. And then 5 full breaths back to neutral. For me, it really helps to picture my elbow moving in a half or quarter circle, up and back, or down and towards the middle in this case. And back to neutral, shake it out. And now notice how it feels different on one side or the other. Whichever side you just practiced with, I suspect will feel a little fluffier, more open, soft, either warmer or cooler, depending upon you and where you started with. Let's try the other side now and see if we can find symmetry. I'm going to start with, again, the front raise, but we're going to go at our full slow 5 breath count this time. So 5 breaths, raising the other arm straight up in front of you. Here we go. After that full range of motion, keep the hand up, elevated for one full breath, and soften the shoulders and the back. You can even reach for a little more length. And then keep that sense of reaching for length going as you gradually bring the hand back to neutral over 5 breaths. Gentle little shake, wiggle it out. Now we're going to wing up to the side over 5 breaths. Keep reaching in an arc from the hip up and across and out the elbow to get the height and the space. You will probably notice the sides are not symmetrical. No problem. Inhale once fully at the end range of motion. Exhale fully. 5 breaths back to neutral. Keep the elbow reaching away from your heart. And one full breath to just settle and wiggle, shake it out. The last movement, of course, is projecting the elbow behind. I'll turn it again so you can see me clearly. And I'm just going to glide the elbow up into an arc, back and down into an arc over 5 breaths. Here we go. Keep centering the chest. At the end range of motion, 1 full breath. And then 5 breaths slowly back to neutral. Can you let go of tension in your neck while keeping the speed constant? Take a breath and reset your whole body by just gently wiggling your spine. And now really notice what's different across the chest, the shoulders, the arms, and the hands. You may even notice some feelings different in the wrists, since the wrists are connected to the elbows and the shoulders. As you get good at this practice, I'm going to suggest you step away from using the video and counting 5 breaths and see if you can extend even to a full 10 breaths in each movement, particularly if one side is more troubled than the other side. Taking more time and going even more slowly on the side that gives you more difficulties is going to be really helpful. Also, double check and notice, not only are we changing the way the tissues are configured and moving, can you tell that your brain has slowed down, quieted some of the noise, or gotten a little less agitated from doing this work? If so, you're probably going in the right direction and this work works for you. Great job. That's it for today. Again, I'm Dr. Sam Zaranovich. I'm a chiropractor, and if you have any questions or problems with this, if you have any concerns about it, or if you're looking for more content like this, you can follow my YouTube by clicking the link, and you can certainly check out my website or email me if you have any questions. Thanks a lot.